Okay, and so we're going to talk a little bit about the foot pedals. Okay, were you taught how to discuss that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you say then? Let's talk first of all about the accelerator. Okay.
It's the right pedal
Okay. Yeah.
that you only use with your right foot.
Okay. And how?
It's by pressing it.
Okay. Let's stop you there. What I would say, we're referring to this pedal over here, the red pedal, right, is number one, the right pedal there, the accelerator.
Yeah.
Okay, from now on I'm going to refer to that as the gas pedal. Hang on a minute. That's okay. Technical glitch. So the right pedal, number one, it's the accelerator, and from now on I'm going to refer to that as the gas pedal, because gas is a neutral term and I don't want you to get mixed up between more accelerator and more acceleration. Okay, so when we use that pedal, it's just a lot easier for me to say more gas. What do you suppose that pedal does?
It supplies fuel to the engine.
Perfect. Most people would say, oh, it makes you go faster. Well, not unless we're in the correct gear, in the correct situation. So yes, when we press that pedal, it supplies more fuel to the engine.
And if we take it off, it takes fuel away from the engine.
Correct.
Or power.
Yeah, so conversely, when we ease off that pedal, less fuel is getting to the engine, therefore the car begins to slow down, and that's before we're anywhere near the brake light, the brakes, for example. So if you are looking down the road and you can see the traffic lights up ahead and those traffic lights are on green currently, you might think to yourself, those lights are going to change back to red very shortly. So by easing off on that gas pedal, the car begins to slow down using a process known as engine compression or engine braking, you might know that as, and the car slows down, and therefore you'll hardly need to use the brakes when you get there. That's sensible driving. It's a well planned drive, and you may also refer to that as acceleration sense. Okay. How are we going to use that pedal? So number one, I will say to you, I'm just going to film myself doing this. Number one, I will say to you, cover the gas, and all I want you to do is with your right foot just cover the gas pedal with the ball of your right foot. I might say to you next, gently squeeze the gas about the thickness of a pound coin. If we're not going fast enough, I'll say a little more gas and run another pound coin. If we're going too fast, a little less gas, ease off by about a pound coin, or cover the gas. I may also talk to you about setting the gas, which we've done on our last lesson. Okay, let's look now at our next subject, the brakes. So what do we need to say about brakes, Hannah?
Putting me on the spot again. They slow you down. They can stop you.
Good.
They brake you on opposite wheels.
Okay, can you explain that a little bit more?
I don't know, if you press it,
Mm-hmm.
say if it was braking the front right wheel, it'll also brake the back left wheel.
Okay, Why does it do that?
In case you've got a puncture.
I would say something a little bit different. What we have, I think what Hannah's talking about here is something called dual circuit braking. Okay, so as you can see from this diagram down here, we have the red line going from the bottom left wheel to the top right wheel, and the opposite is true as well. We have the blue line going from the top left to the bottom right there, so they're connected diagonally. We have this little box here which is called a brake valve regulator, and if it detects a loss of pressure on one of those wheels, let's say one of those wheels there loses brake pressure for, I don't know, for any particular reason.
Oh, so not if it loses air pressure.
Let's say the brakes fail for any reason whatsoever. For example, you hit a bad pothole. Okay, let's say the brakes get damaged. This brake valve regulator over here detects a loss of pressure over here, and it kills the brake over there. Can you think of a reason why that would be a very useful thing to do?
No.
It's so that we can still brake in a straight line. We can maintain a straight course because we have equal brake pressure over here.
But so it still brakes all of your wheels?
No. Remember, this brake is dead because it got damaged in a pothole.
But it still brakes the other three?
This brake valve regulator detects this loss of pressure and it deletes the brake over here, which means we are now running with 2 brakes, not 4.
Okay.
And the reason that is useful is because we can still slow the car down in a straight line. If we've got double brake pressure on this side and only 1 brake working on this side, it's like a tug of war and the car might pull to the one side.
Okay.
So I just briefly talk about that, and I never talk about what if we lose a brake on both sides.
So it's nothing to do with the puncture, it's to do with your brakes?
It's, yes.
If the brake breaks?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
So briefly, when I talk about brakes, I say that the brake is the middle pedal. Okay, it slows us down or it stops us.
And on the lights on the back.
Yeah, on the back of all cars we have the lights. And the way we're going to use that pedal is with our right foot and only the right foot. And I will say to you, Hannah, cover the brake. So I'll put my right foot over there like that. I'll say gently squeeze the brake, approximately the thickness of a pound coin. If we're not slowing down enough, I'll say squeeze the brake a little bit more. If we're over braking, I'll say a little less brake, ease off the brake, or just cover the brake. Because our right foot operates the gas pedal and the brake pedal, you want your heel somewhere in the middle so you can go gas, brake, brake, gas, nice and easy. Make sense? And that is it. Ooh, doing well. Okay.
You are?
Okay. This is the more interesting one. What have we got going on here?
The clutch, the left pedal.
The clutch is the left pedal, yes.
And you only use it with your left foot.
What is it first before we get into how to use it?
Changes the gear.
No.
It transmits the power to the engine. From, I don't know, from...
You're nearly there.
It transmits the power from the clutch to the accelerator.
Quite simply, its sole purpose in life is to transfer power from one place to another.
Well, that's what I said.
Kind of. So, in the car, we transfer power from the engine. Here we go. If you have a look on this diagram here, we transfer power from the engine through the clutch area to the gearbox and then onto the wheels. the drive wheels, that is, and the drive wheels on this Ford Fiesta are the front two wheels. Okay, so we have an engine that's on, it's running, we have the clutch compartment, and when the clutch goes down like this, down, a lot of people assume that that's to help us change gear, but that's not its purpose. So these two come apart, which creates a space and allows us to select a gear, but that's not its purpose. When we start to bring the clutch pedal back up towards the bite point, you notice the bite, what we've done is transfer power from the engine through the clutch, which is just slightly touching now, very light contact, and we've transferred it over here to the gearbox.
So when you take the clutch off,
Can you hold on to this
the
for me?
clutch is just keep touching.
Can you hold that for me, please? So, what was your question? Sorry. Say again.
When you take the clutch off when you're driving,
Yes.
does that mean that those are touching?
It certainly does. Yes.
So when it's open, you can select a gear.
Yes. So when the clutch is down, this happens. As we bring the clutch pedal up, we're bringing these two clutch plates slowly together. When you reach bite point or contact point, they're very, very lightly touching each other. It's at this point you'd be looking all around to see if it's safe to move the car. You would release the handbrake, and then you'd start to lift the clutch all the way up, 1, 2, 3, and we've transferred the power from the engine to the wheels.
Okay.
At this point here, when we've lifted the clutch up to the bite point, to transfer power to the wheels, we only need to lift the clutch pedal up the thickness of a pound.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions?
Nope.
That's it. So I sometimes refer to the clutch as the power pedal, really. That's what I think of it as. It's a pedal that transfers power from one place to another, and I insist to my pupils, if they remember nothing else that day, they need to remember that in America they refer to it as the transmission. If you watch any of these films where they're racing cars around, they'll talk about the transmission needing to be changed or something. They're referring to the clutch, really. That's what it is. And that's it. So now we have discussed pedals. So yes, with the clutch we use the left foot, only the left foot, and in particular it's the ball of the left foot. And in my last video I talked to you also a little bit about making sure the heel of your foot is off that pedal as you lift the clutch pedal up to give you greater articulation. You will have much more control from the knee if you lift that clutch pedal up with your heel off the ground.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Next.
I don't know.
You look like you've zoned out. It's a lot to take in, isn't it?
Next, you've done the clutch.
I want to talk about gears selection now. Gears.
Well,
That's what I would
same,
talk.
isn't it?
That's what I would talk about is gears. Can you film it? Can you film me talking about gears a little bit?
Okay.
Okay, so with gears, I might ask the question, which gear do you think is the strongest, first or fifth? A lot of people would assume that fifth gear is for going fast and therefore it might be the strongest, but that's not the truth. Gear 1, or the reverse gear, is the strongest gear. It gets this whole lump of metal on the move, even up a hill, up to approximately jogging pace or 10 miles per hour. So to select gear 1, I advise you to palm with your hand, push the gear lever across and then forward. Okay, avoid doing this, it's not wrong. Also avoid doing this for safety reasons, because sooner or later you'll forget to come across and you'll go forwards into third by accident, which is a much weaker gear. If any of you have got mountain bikes or things like that, you might liken this to a mountain bike. Would you try to get up a hill in third gear, or would you use first gear? What would be easier? And for the same reasons, that's what we do for the car. For some people who haven't got mountain bikes, I would say I want you to imagine you've taken a very young person to the park and you want to push them on the swing. You want to help them enjoy themselves on the swing. That first push where you are have to push that person on the swing, that's the hardest effort. It gets them going. Well, that's the first gear. Second gear is when the young person has come back to you, and the second push, it's still a hard push, it's still hard work, but it's not as hard as first, and it gradually gets easier and easier and easier. So by the third push it's easier. By 4 and 5 it's more of a maintenance push to keep things moving along. So with gears 1, push out and forwards, that will take us up to about 10 or a jogging pace. Gear 2, push across and pull down, that will take us up to about 20. And third gear, you can turn your hand like that or your hand like that, and I just go plop and plop. So rather than try to go 1, 2, 3 like this, I see people do that all the time. Absolutely no need, because once we're in neutral there, that spot between 3 and 4, if I just do that and let go, it's on a spring, and I do that and let go, it's on a spring. So when we're in second, all I need to do is just let it go plop, and I know now I can go forwards into third with no effort at all. The reason we have the neutral is so that we can find any gear in the gearbox without ever having to take our eyes off the road. And it's important that we don't take our eyes off the road, because you're going to miss vital information. You might miss somebody indicating to you that you can proceed. You might start steering towards the curb if you are looking down for a gear selection. So do practice while stationary how to select gears without looking. So I would say, look at that red car over there. In your peripheral vision, I want you now to select second gear, and whilst you're looking out through the window, you can still see the gear lever, and you can just push towards the other door and then just pull down. If the gear doesn't want to go in, don't fight it. It means something's going wrong. Just let go, it bounces back to neutral, and then you can just find whatever gear you need to be in. I hope that helps you out with gears a little bit.
Make sure your foot's down to the floor when you're doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, so the clutch pedal will be down when you select the gear, and then we talk about how fast to bring that clutch pedal up as well. But generally speaking, for a while at least, we tend to just stick with first gear and second gear, and that's it. All right, good. Would you like to learn anything else today?
No, I think I've had information overload.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. That's perfect. All right then. Well, yeah, if you've got any questions or comments, then remember to leave them below. I'll try to answer your questions as fast as I can. Good luck with your training. Speak to you again soon. Bye for now.